All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the April 2nd, 2025 meeting of the Auburn School Committee to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll start down here on my right with introductions.
Dan Poisson, Ward 5.
Quinn Gormley, Ward 4.
Corin McGuigan, Ward 1.
Pam Hart, Ward 2.
Pamela Albert at large.
Sue Dorr, Superintendent.
Pat Gaudier, Ward 3.
Jay Rich at large.
Adam Platt, City Council Representative. Calvin Vincent, Student Representative.
Connor Dufour, Student Representative.
Amanda Kuchar, Business Manager.
Scott Anier, Assistant Superintendent.
Thank you and welcome, everyone. I'm going to start tonight with the approval of our consent agenda, which includes the approval of tonight's agenda, as well as the approval of the minutes of the March 26, 2025 meeting. Do I have a motion? Corin? Quinn, second. All those in favor? Motion carries. I'm now going to open it up to public participation. This would be public participation for anything that's not on tonight's agenda. So if you're here for the public hearing of about the budget, we'll get to that next. But for any other purpose, if anyone is here for public participation who would like to address the school committee, please step to the podium. Welcome. I'm going to ask you to state your name and your affiliation with the Auburn School Committee. And just please keep in mind that public comment is not designed to be a discussion, but rather an opportunity for the school committee to listen. I ask that you maintain civility and respect, keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, and refrain from commenting on any specific school personnel as prohibited by our policy and state and federal privacy laws. Thank you.
All right. I am Arlo Driggs, president of Auburn. I am a former student of the system, and I just had a statement prepared that I would like to bring to you. Our state and our city become the center of a national debate surrounding the place of transgender students in our schools. The federal government and out-of-state groups are trying to bully our communities into banning transgender athletes from competing in school sports, a policy that would be detrimental to all of our students. For transgender youth, these policies mean alienation, harassment, and a lack of the same basic activities, access to the same basic activities that other students pursue. You may believe that this doesn't affect other students, but I would like to ask you here tonight, what happens if your daughter is accused of being transgender because of her success as an athlete? How could we possibly police something like this? Think about what it would realistically take to guarantee that every single child playing school sports presents as the gender that they were assigned at birth. Are any of you willing to ask your children to expose themselves to a school administrator to prove that they're not transgender? If you think I'm exaggerating, any anti-trans legislation all over the country specifically included verification clauses mandating that student athletes undergo examination prove their gender. The fact that people are calling for this is disgusting, and that's why I'd like to make a request to each of the committee members here tonight. For the sake of protecting our children, I'd ask that each of you tonight make an individual, specific commitment that you're going to use your position of power to uphold the Maine Human Rights Act against any policies that prohibit transgender students from participating in school sports or aim to persecute or disadvantage them in any way. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have anyone else who would like to address the school committee? Welcome. Please state your name and your affiliation with the Auburn School Department.
I am Tara Russo. I am a previous student, and I currently have family residing within of Auburn schools. I have never done this before, so I thank you so much for your patience and your time. I would just like to state that I care a lot about the local students' safety and privacy first and foremost. I believe that currently ICE does not have any legal jurisdiction to enter schools in Maine, and that it is an active act of disregarding students' privacy and safety to allow a organization to enter school grounds when that same courtesy would not be extended to other organizations that have no legal affiliation with the federal government. And I also agree that transgender students need the same exact privacy and safety as any other student is guaranteed. Barring their access to sports is a disrespect to a healthy and committed child that deserves just as much access to sports as any other child. And I do not believe that their gender identification or even birth sex should bar them from such an activity, because it is perfectly healthy for a child to want to be a part of a team, to want to be healthy, and to want to participate in their local community, because sports is the first step to building those core frameworks to a healthy adult. And by actively discouraging it, it encourages people to be, sorry, I haven't written a script, not accepting, I think, to immediately bar the argument instead of trying to accept other people's point of view. And that's all I wanted to say today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Do I have anyone else who would like to address the school committee tonight for public participation? Okay. We will move on to our next agenda item, which is our presentation and our public hearing for the 2025-2026 Auburn School Department budget. Do you have anything to say before I start? Okay.
Right ahead.
So at this time, I will welcome anyone who would like to address the school committee and share your thoughts about the proposed Auburn school budget for 2025-2026. No one? Okay. If we don't have anyone who would like to speak on the school budget, we will move on to the school committee student representatives report. Connor and Calvin.
We have no report.
Okay. Moving on to our superintendent's report, Dr. Doris.
I have no report tonight.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. I do not have a report tonight either. City council update, Adam?
Yeah, thank you. I can give a brief update on the city council budget workshop on Monday. It was a continuation of deliberations over the council's working, not yet adopted, but council's working budget. The original working budget on the city side, this is excluding the school department, but the city side's budget was a fairly large increase, originally proposed of, I want to say 16.8%, and affecting the overall city tax levy to about 10% increase. Now, the city council collectively has said they're not okay with that number. So the city council has set a goal of getting the overall tax levy down to 5% or less, and that's going to require, to do that, a significant amount of cutting in the budget. Now that's going to be spread out amongst, well, we haven't decided. The city council is deliberating that over the next 4 workshops. I would encourage the public to show up if they'd like to speak to that as it pertains to the school. The school department is obviously included in those discussions as one of the departments. There were a wide range of numbers thrown out on Monday. As far as individual counselors' opinions, I won't speak to the collective opinion of the city council at this point because there isn't one. But I would encourage anybody to watch that meeting if they want to see what's going on. Anybody can reach out to me as a city council representative. I'm happy to talk about details. I think the school kind of has, Dr. Doris has been following along to understand where the school might fit into that and how it all might play out. So I know that Dr. Doris and Mr. Anir are getting prepared for that, however it may play out. I know I'm not giving specific details. That's because the council doesn't have any other than our intent to make sure we can get this tax levy increase down to a reasonable number. So that's all I've got, and I'm happy to discuss this with any school board members or any members of the public who'd like to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for Adam? Okay. Moving on to So no committee reports tonight. We don't have any old business. So moving on to new business, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Auburn School Department 2025-26 school calendar. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Second, Pam. Any questions, discussion on the school calendar? Quinn?
Do we have a clear policy about religious holiday absence exemptions stated somewhere?
Yes, those are excused.
Thank you.
Is that in a policy?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Is that true for staff as well as students?
Yes.
Any other questions about the school calendar? Okay. I know it's always difficult and challenging figuring out the holiday break, the December break. And again, this year, I think we were challenged with where Christmas and New Year's Day falls, so.
I would like also to add that this is based upon a regional calendar. So we have to line up with the LRTC calendar, and I think it's 5 dissimilar days. So we had a big discussion about the 2 weeks over the holiday break, and that was the consensus of the group that we kept that this year. I also want to point out that there should be an additional teacher workshop day on your calendar on June 17th, which is not there. So when you take a look at the calendar, it should be pink, colored in pink there.
Okay. So that'll be updated. Corin?
With LRTC, how will they be meeting over the Christmas break, and how is that handled?
So this discussion, it's a regional calendar, and so because of the region and LRTC, that's very much the driving force through the discussion to make sure that there's commonality with that. This discussion actually began with Lewiston and us somewhere in November to really make sure that we got ourselves as possibly aligned as we can. What I can say is that this matches up extremely well in every way. Some of the little variances that we've encountered had to do when we have our early release professional development Wednesdays. We now match up with Lewiston. We had been doing the first of the month. They had been doing the third. And that doesn't matter to anybody unless you're involved with LRTC and trying to organize transportation. So we kind of got ourselves aligned that way to minimize that. And pretty much all the other days match up. Like Mr. Callahan and myself really took a hard look at it, and then it was brought back to the rest of the region. And again, as Dr. Doris said, it can only be 5 uncommon days. And so some others may have some days that are uncommon, but we are, if there's a day out, it's one day between us and Lewiston and LRTC.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. So we have 3 storm days that we can take, and then after that, if there's storm days, are they to be remote?
Yes, that's correct. So we have the 3 traditional snow days, and then after that, it will be a remote learning day.
Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the Auburn School Department 25-26 school calendar? Motion carries. We have our list of upcoming meetings. I will note, I think we want to note that next Monday, where is listed the Joint School Committee City Council Budget Workshop, that's not actually a joint workshop between us and the City Council. Dr. Doris, do you want to speak more to that?
Yeah, it's not actually a joint workshop. It is a workshop, and we will be presenting information on the school budget, but the school committee does not need to attend in the sense of it being a joint workshop. You're all welcome to be there, but you're not required to be there.
Do I have any requests for future agenda items or requests for information? Okay. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 405-6D for the purpose of labor contract negotiations. Do I have a motion?
Seconded.
Corin, Quinn. All right. All those in favor? We are now in executive session. Thank you all for coming tonight.